Well,
Hi,
Hi.
it's Warren and
Hi.
Bridget again this week with a very animated guest. This we have the pleasure this week to be joined by Joerg Geissler, which is a super guest to have because the last couple of weeks we've been talking about Google Ads. And if there's anyone who knows anything about Google Ads, it's this man. In my opinion, my humble opinion.
Thank you.
So there you go. I'm sitting in Bremen. Joerg is sitting in the Bavarian capital of Munich. Fresh from the beer garden, I'm sure. And Bridget is, as always, joining us from San Antonio,
Texas.
Texas. Okay. Yeah, strong women is very important.
Yeah.
There you go. So welcome, Joerg. Thank you for making time for us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Our pleasure. So I'm going to cut right to the chase. I think what everyone really wants to know, and the main reason we brought you on the show today is small businesses. How can you guarantee to get them on Platz 1, top of the page of Google results, buying Google Ads? Go.
Oh, guarantee that there's no such thing.
With no money. With no money, huh?
With no money. No. Actually, we're talking a lot about $1 ads. So no, I wanted to put you on the spot. No, of course, this is not true. But it's interesting because you're a small business and you also do Google Ads. So you've got the best of both worlds. You know how to do the ads, you know the benefits, you know the pitfalls, and you do them not only for your own business, but you also do them for clients. And you've been doing that for a long time. Maybe you can tell us your story and what you're doing there.
Yeah, to be honest, I was never using Google Ads for my own business.
Okay, that's interesting.
Well, that leads us directly to the point, because most of the small businesses are not very literate with Google Ads and SEO, and they even can't decide between SEO and SER. They just want to be seen on the first page. And I remember one problem was that, yes, you can be always on top, but not the cheapest way to do that. Okay. It's not that they're being on the first place is usually not the cheapest place. And if you want that, we can do that. But
not for €1 a day.
No,
yes,
not even for a pound a day. No, definitely not.
Yes, it's true. And as I said already, it's for Google. Google is data driven, so the statistic helps more if you have big data. So working in a specific way on Google Ads.
So how do you get more data, Joerg?
Well, by paying, but I come back to the small businesses. I think you have to define what a small business is, because, for example, I know that Warren is just working for a client who is in the industry, a B2B client. So you have a very specific need that people are searching for. And this is the key driver of everything, to understand what exactly the people are needing and to interpret their questions. And if you are not able to do it by data, by statistics, you have to do it by your experience, by asking people, maybe doing interviews. I'm considering that at the moment for another client, because he has a very complicated product. So you really have to understand that. And I think the small businesses have benefits in understanding their clients. So this makes it possible.
So would you say that experience is also intuition?
Oh yeah, sure. It's intuition. You have to, you can't rely on every data, even if you have a lot of them. if you can take them as a tip or as a direction, but you still have to have a feeling for the clients. So for your client, if you're helping them with marketing, and for their clients especially. So yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm the devil's advocate that always says data is the cause of death. Data is the past. Data is an autopsy. Data only measures what you did yesterday or 5 minutes ago. It
Yes,
doesn't measure what you should have been doing.
yes, yeah.
Can you like kind of talk about how you guide those search ads based upon your experience and what the client's goals are?
Well, yeah, it's well, the biggest problem for me is always to have these clients to invest in this research together.
Yeah.
So this is something you don't get paid usually. So you have to come around because all the research and the feeling you develop and the understanding for the client. This is much more as most of small clients want to invest. That's a bit of a problem. So, but as I said, there are different methods to get into that whole area, and it's also a lot about the motives, the motivation behind people doing that. So it's often not really a logical decision. It's often something I have to do, or somebody drives me to, or so this also means I'm not trying to understand this because I only have to do it. I don't like it. It's all yeah. So I'm really I try to invest as much to time to have the people convinced about what we are doing, and yeah, being really empathic about the way, because the way is great. If you talk about Google Ads, it's not advertising as we know it.
No.
It's a service. You are offering a service. If somebody has a need, you offer the best answer. So that's not advertising in a traditional way. So I'm really into it. I really love the way, especially if it comes to search. It's different with display, but the search is really a service. And if you do it right, it remains a service, even if it works for you as like compared to good compared to the traditional advertising.
We had this conversation. Well, we had many conversations over the last 30 years, but you know, last time I was in Munich, there was a car advertising and very loudly that they were doing SEO. Was driving around, and I said, look, you should get your car done like this. And what you always say to me is like, yeah, but I don't do SEO. I find this I've always had this sort of stumbling block because you were saying about clients, about companies understanding what they want and who they are and who's out there, because and I had this experience last night talking with a client who's just entering Google Ads, and they were sitting there going, okay, now I really don't know what to write. What should I have as my headline? What should I have? And I said, well, you've done the SEO of your website. You've done your landing page. So what are you saying there? Like, do you understand what are people looking for? Okay, they're looking for this, this, this. Well, that is you're building your Google Ads. So for me, I think it's really for Google Ads are like the next step after you've mastered your SEO, you've mastered your meta, you understand exactly what's on your pages, and then the Google Ads on top. This is why I always find it interesting when you say, well, I don't do SEO, because maybe in some way, without knowing it, maybe you do. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of like the cousin to content marketing.
Yeah. I mean, also for my belief, or
when you set up my ads, Warren,
yeah,
for my books and all that, I mean, as soon as I saw how they work, I was like, oh no, This is the call to action. That's going to get pinned. Okay, I got this. This is content marketing. I can write headlines all day long.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Well, let's go back. Joerg?
Yeah, well, it's a very interesting discussion. Good you asked that. I see it. I'm most of the time I argue the opposite.
Okay. Then please do explain this to me.
Elaborate, por favor.
Yeah, please elaborate.
Well, first of all, I always was a bit distant to SEO, because when I started doing all this, it was a lot of cheating around, and it was a lot of black sheep. And so whenever I looked at it, it was either cheating or high technology knowledge. High tech knowledge. So I'm not in both. I'm not interested. So so I concentrated on SEO, and the answer is that if you're having a website, you usually don't have that optimized websites on content. So what you start is you try to understand what your client wants by intuition, by research, etc. So, and then what when Warren and I met, it was a direct marketing agency. So the only KPI was really an action. So really leaving an address, buying something, everything else is not interesting. So, what you can make sure with AdWords before SEO is that the whole string is working. So you buy highly relevant content, keywords, needs. You buy that even if maybe it's expensive. But then if somebody is looking for digital consultant Bremen, you know that this is your client. And then if he doesn't convert, you have to work on the page, on the experience of the page. So, and that's how it begins. And then you can say the landing page, which is not working, that should be considered as a content marketing thing. Then you can start thinking about what is he reading, what is the message I give him here, etc., etc. So, and if this is working, then you can start connecting other keywords which pop up in the time to landing pages and make it more relevant. And it has something has changed in the last years. Most of the people I know which are into SEO, they are really into relevancy for people. So it's not the keyword density, it's not the backlinks, it's not all this shit which popped up over the year.
Right.
It's only making people satisfying people's need. And then you see, okay, there is a URL which is not readable, and there is this and that. Then you can keep on fine tuning. But the thing is, you have to start where the most relevant people are coming in, and how they behave, and learn by their behavior to change your offer and your dialogues and your offering and your services. You change them so these people are converting, as we say, are doing what you want, whatever it is. It could be download. And the good thing is you can measure it all. You can download, you can measure time on page, you can measure scrolling, etc. So you have a lot of indicators, and you also have sort of, most of the time you have to also work with micro conversions, as I say, which means It's not a hard conversion like an address which is given to me, but for example, the time on a special page. So this, if you see the people are spending time on some content, you can say for the ads system, you can make it a conversion and can show Google, because it's a lot of AI now. You have to show, you have to give Google something to work with.
So you're training it.
So you're training Google by giving some hints. This could be interesting. This could be interesting, and and you can give them an amount of money, so your client can see, okay, this address has cost me that, if he understands, you can explain what a microconversion is worth in your eyes, and how it relates to his costs. But this is, that's something you probably don't have to explain to a small business client.
I think that's the idea of the microconversion. This is really important because I've got 8 clients who are doing Google ads at the moment. None of them sell anything on their website.
Exactly.
And every one of them said, so why do I need Google ads? Because there's still this idea that, Google ad, it's a pay-per-click. I'm going to get them to click on something and then I'm going to buy them something. And, bear with me for a moment. And, over time now, they are seeing the benefits of all these learnings. These are the microconversions. These are, wow, look at my bounce rate, or people are using these terms and, to find me. And all of these sorts of things that have nothing to do with clicking on a banner and buying something. It's really, you're out there and you're giving people yet another way to connect with you, and you're learning a lot.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really good point.
You could argue it's a real-time market research.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if it depends on your client, if he's understanding, and it's also if it relates to the budget. You could say the more budget you spend, the more you learned in short time. So this is something, I mean, you can learn with $1 a day, but it might be faster. And well, and we didn't mention the most important thing.
We should mention it then. Mention it then, please. I don't want to miss the most important thing.
No, it's related to research. It's Google gives you the search terms.
Yeah, I love those.
That means you have a keyword and you see what related searches are done based on that keyword. And we have a few months ago, we have a big change because there was one possibility to set up keywords, which was a modifier. That meant that Google is not doing some weird associations. It made sure that the keyword is in the search, and they killed that. And now everything is phrase match. It's called phrase match, and even it's one word. It's called phrase match.
Yeah.
And I don't have enough experience or interpretation now what it means exactly, but it looks like it works very similar.
I think I think this is part of their their move to really trying to make it semantic and personal.
Yes.
Because Alexa.
Who?
Alexa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
she's doing the searches, really, right?
Yeah, and it's working. I mean, it's really getting spooky. But yeah, it's a far cry from
It's also making content marketing easier. Because when for me, when I write for clients, I search in a question, right? And then what shows later?
Okay.
People also ask.
As long as you're not logged in when you're doing this, or you're, and maybe you're using a laptop in a different city that you've never used before. So it's as clean a search as possible. Otherwise, Google is showing you questions that you are relevant for you.
Well, incognito, right?
Incognito. I usually wear black and like a hoodie when I'm doing these sorts of searches.
For the dark web.
Better,
For the the dark.
And even your face, make it black. Yeah.
Yeah, I turn the lights off.
And put something on your webcam, especially. Yeah. That's very important. Huh?
I have a sticker.
Okay, good. A black sticker. Okay.
So, because what I mean is, so the search terms, my understanding of those search terms is, those are the terms people used, as Warren says, to activate your ad.
Those are the ones that, Google said, that's relevant, and point.
Right, and so you can use those to make your content marketing better.
Yes,
so
definitely.
that not only did it activate your ad, but now the content on that web page, landing page, whatever, blog, whatever, product, whatever, is more relevant.
Yeah.
So that is, like you said, real-time market research, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But you have to take care, because if you have a something which is most of the time misspelled, you have to use this and explain that this is not the term, how it's written. Huh?
Right.
So you have to explain that.
I should definitely do that for my name. Bridget, Birgit.
Yeah.
You should have a glossary of terms.
Elizabeth.
Just for SEO purposes,
Justin Bieber.
Jörg, we're almost out of time. Is there something, before we ask our last penetrating question of you, is there anything that you would like to, say about, Google Ads, and, warnings, suggestions, praise? Is there anything you'd like to get out?
I love it.
You love it. All right. Sounds good.
This is enough. I think it's really, if it's done right, it's a relevant service, and you can do a lot with it. And you even can, for some clients, do it with very little money. And in any case, every euro, every dollar is well spent in Google Ads, because you learn it.
That's a good point. What's your biggest success story?
My biggest success story is a clinic for eating disorders, and this was that's really a composite of different factors. In Germany, if you have it's about bulimia. It's about, I don't know, bulimia. Exactly. So this is, for example, something which is often spelled wrong. And it's something, if a clinic offers this, it's very good paid by the German health system. There's a huge growing need. And it's something, in this special case, it's something, the therapy that you're doing is the best if it's not close to your home, if you're away from your home. So this clinic I was working for was in the outback. And this is usually a problem, because nobody wants to go there. But for that kind of therapy, it helped very well. And so it was first, when we started, it was part of a clinic, and now it ended up with a separate clinic. 60 places. And we had, it was time when TV was more important than today. So I was teaching in a school, and I was doing with my students, I was doing a TV spot. And it was, because it was a relevant thing for the kids. It was sponsored by MTV for, I think, 2 million euros. They gave us on placements. So that was really a big success in the end. So this clinic was based on AdWords, if you want to.
When they were still called AdWords. Yes.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
Oh, it takes you back.
Yeah.
I
theme song?
remember when MTV
Oh,
first
MTV,
came
yeah.
out. Oh,
Yeah.
nostalgia. Thank you so much for being on our show. And
Yes, thank you, Joerg.
Yeah.
Warren will also link to the blog post that you contributed to. That was
Thank you.
great learnings.
And
Thank
to dieweboptimieer.de.
Yes, thank you. It's a very
Yes.
interesting website. I can
It
recommend
is. It is. I think it's in WordPress, isn't it?
it is.
I think it is. All right.
Okay.
Thank
Have
you,
a nice
Joerg,
day.
and you have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
Later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.